And Matt's right. You know, when you're making a movie, you gotta have a hook.
You gotta have a hook.
I mean, obviously Nick Cage is the hook.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Randall here with No Market Media.
And I'm Matt. Today, Randall and I are going to be reviewing a new movie that just came out in theaters. It is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It stars Nicolas Cage, Pedro Pascal, Tiffany Haddish, Sharon Horgan, and Lily Sheen. It's co-written and directed by Tom Gormican, also known for That Awkward Moment and as a producer on the show Ghosted.
Feeling that his career as a movie star is in a downward spiral and on the edge of quitting acting, Nick Cage takes on a gig as the special guest at a superfan's birthday party. Soon after arriving, things get a little out of hand when the CIA recruits him for a covert operation inside the home that he was invited to as a guest. It has been well received by both critics and audiences. Cage turned down this role, playing a caricature of himself, quote, 3 or 4 times, but eventually changed his mind after the co-writer and director Tom Gormican wrote him a personalized letter.
My first impression of this movie is that this movie is for a specific audience. And I think if you are that specific audience, or at least in the know, you're going to enjoy this film. Like, laugh out loud. Enjoy this film.
What is your third favorite movie of all time?
Paddington 2.
What?
But I think there's going to be a lot of people who aren't really into, I guess, the memes and stuff associated with Nicolas Cage that might, be kind of scratching their heads a little bit at this film.
I had a blast. Okay? I had so much fun watching this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was a joy to go to the theaters and watch it. There are a couple of slower parts, but they're kind of earned.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the characters have just had a whole bunch of stuff going on, and then there's a slower part, and you're like, okay. And then things pick back up. The movie felt like maybe it was dragging on a little bit, but I think, in all honesty, completely on purpose. Because once you watch this movie and you see what it's talking about and what it's doing, you're like, I get it.
Yep.
I understand. You're making it feel long on purpose, even though it's not that long. It's an hour and 40-some minutes long.
Yep.
So. Long story short, first impressions, I just had so much fun watching this movie.
Yep, I agree. I had a lot of fun watching it as well.
So I really appreciate the storytelling in this movie, the way it's getting its plot out of the way, where, in the trailer you have this idea of, at first, the very first trailer of, what is this? What is Nick Cage doing? I don't care. I want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second trailer comes out and it starts relaying the story, like the CIA stuff, there's something going on. Do you know whose house you're staying at? And we need to recruit Nicolas Cage, which doesn't really ever go by Nicolas, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this character he's playing is Nick Cage.
Nick Cage.
Nick Cage.
I thought that stuff, the way the story progressed and let the characters breathe and become characters and let you know that they're not playing real people, characters, was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's interesting to me with the story is how much of how this story progresses and how the characters are straightforward about how this movie is going to progress. I don't want to get too descriptive of it because I don't want to ruin anything in this movie. But it's kind of weird that it's kind of like, well, we need to do this. And then something like that actually happens in the movie.
It becomes a very meta story.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that's as much as I can say.
Yeah.
Because I would never, it's too early since it's been released. I don't want to ruin it for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
It does become very much this thing and then, oh, haha. Honestly, I mean, I'll get to it in the conclusions, but I right now I say go watch it.
Yep, go watch it. So, as we already pointed out, people are playing fictional characters. Like, Nicolas Cage is playing Nick Cage. It is a fictional version of himself. Which, I mean, it's probably one of the easiest roles you can have, right? To just play yourself.
No, actually, he just had a Reddit AMA where someone was like, "What's the hardest role you've ever played?" He goes, "This one was hard. Like playing a fictionalized version of myself was hard." So no, Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal.
Yes,
they're awesome, and it's a good thing the movie spends the bulk of the time with those characters. The supporting cast is just okay. they're just okay at best. I'd say like his daughter and everything is. I mean, she's kind of an aloof, I don't care, devil may care 16-year-old, which is probably what they're going for. But the rest of the cast is just okay. But I'm super happy that the characters, Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal, whose character's name does not matter.
The guy that owns this house, what's his name?
Javi. Mr. Cage.
Excuse me, is Javi going to want me to, you know?
I'm not sure I understand.
Look, it's Javi.
I am Javi.
They're great.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this movie is about building that relationship together. And another, like, supporting cast, like Tiffany Haddish or whatever, I mean, she plays the role. I mean, I think that is what mostly, lets me kind of know, like, all right, typical comedy movie character kind of thing is how I would feel about that. But yeah, now everyone else, like, who plays, like, different roles, they just play roles, but they're not, like, big enough to definitely outshine our two mains. This movie is all about letting Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal shine.
And they're not there enough to like disrupt from the main storyline either. So right near the climax, or right before the climax, the penultimate moment, there's a reveal, basically, which is exactly the time you need a reveal.
Yep.
Yeah, and that character's not even there long enough to matter, like as far as being important and ruining the flow of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, all these other characters basically like how they impact our main characters' lives, basically.
So as a genre, I mean, obviously it's a comedy, but I will go one step further. I will say it's a buddy comedy. Not buddy cop, not a buddy cop comedy. But it's a buddy comedy. It just might be something else deep down inside, too.
I cried through the entire thing and made me want to be a better man.
I would say it's comedy with aspects of other different types of movies, because we got to make this appeal to a lot of different people. So that's what I would say about it. But yeah, it's mostly comedy, maybe comedy with some action in it. I wouldn't say action comedy or whatever, but it's a comedy that has some action in it.
Some. And Matt's right. When you're making a movie, you got to have a hook.
You got to have a hook.
I mean, obviously, Nick Cage is the hook.
Yeah. You guys gotta see this movie. Check this movie out if you're a Nick Cage fan.
You go check this movie out and then come back and watch that review. It'll be like...
I'm gonna go and say something that I already mentioned in this review. And like I said, I can't go too in-depth to it because I really don't want to spoil this movie. But I didn't see coming where we'd have characters say something and then that thing would then happen in this movie kind of thing. And I wouldn't say we're not like breaking the fourth wall or whatever in this film. It's not that at all. But the device that this movie uses, and to use it over and over, and then to go back and rewatch the film and realize like, oh, so that is why these different elements were in this film.
Everything's set up.
Everything is set up.
And it
yes.
has a purpose.
Yes, it does. Everything.
Also, go watch our Guilty Pleasure of Deep Rising. Another perfectly competent film where everything is perfectly set up. All right, my didn't see coming is a little different. It's a little weird. Like, there's not much about this I didn't see coming. I guess maybe I could say Nick Cage has like a weird breakdown moments, but in reality, I was afraid that when the plot got going, things were going to slow down and the comedy would go away. I'm like, all right, so now it's not going to be a comedy movie. Now it's going to be this. And that is not the case, and I'm happy to say so. Even when the plot gets going with everything with the character of Pedro Pascal and all the side characters, the comedy continues. It continues throughout.
I don't want to kill you. You're the last person I want to kill. I love you. I love you.
So I can confidently say that it's a buddy comedy throughout the entire film. As we alluded to before, there's a little bit of something here for everyone, which is the point of a lot of the film. It's kind of poking fun at that in modern films. And more importantly, if you're a Nick Cage fan, it's just full of the Nick Cage memes and the Nick Cage history and films, and even a blink and you'll miss it or a wink and you'll miss it joke about the Coppola family vineyard, where Nick Cage says, I should maybe get into like winery or something like that. And I'm like, did you catch that? That's a Coppola joke. Like I was the only one in the theater that got it. Go watch this movie.
Me, I enjoyed this movie too. It's one of those movies that the trailers definitely didn't steer me clear. And I feel, or steer me, away or whatever. They're pretty clear on what's going to be in this movie. I got out of this movie what I wanted to get out of this movie going in. And that's why I'm glad that this movie fulfills, I think, that promise. And stuff, it's good too. Yeah, there are some slow parts, but like Randall was saying before, it's kind of like nitpicky things or whatever. This was an enjoyable film. And yes, if you are a fan of Nicolas Cage films, I think you're really going to enjoy this film.
Even obscure Nicolas Cage films. Go watch Mandy. I swear to God. But if you've seen The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, we want to know what you think. Let us know in the comments below. We also have other new movie reviews, some flashback movie reviews, some TV series reviews, and of course, some deeper dive discussions.
Also, be sure to check us out on Facebook. We post a day before our videos come out to let you know the topic of the next video. We also post some other things from our fandoms. If you don't have Facebook, don't worry about it. Just check out our YouTube page. Our videos come out regularly. For now, I'm Matt with No Market Media. Have a good day.
And I'm Randall. See everyone next time.
Next time on No Market Media. Please consider checking out some of our other videos.